Today I wanted to talk about the topic of happiness. And in order to talk about this topic, I kind of wanted to go back in time a little bit and give you a little bit of an anecdote. So, about 3 years ago, I went to this thing called 꿈톡, which literally means dream talk in Korea, in Seoul. And I went to support a friend of mine who was supposed to be the main personality of the day, if you will. So I went to see him speak, and I thought that that was all that was going to be to the presentation. But somewhere in the middle there was kind of a intermission of sorts, and they asked members of the audience to write down on a post-it note just a little blurb. They didn't really give us any other guidelines about it. They just said, just write whatever you would like. And I thought about it really hard because at the time I was going through a very difficult time. And suddenly the perfect thing came to mind. I wrote it down, and everyone in the audience went and stuck their post-it notes up on the front wall. And they continued the talk, the presentation, and I thought that they were going to finish, but then as they were finishing up, as they were wrapping up, the host of this presentation walked over to the post-it notes and started reading them off one by one. And I thought, of course, they're not going to pick mine. You know, I'm a foreigner. What? Because I had written this post-it note in Korean. I'm like, they're not going to... Yeah, I probably got it wrong. It's probably the wrong grammar or something. I don't know. I was not very confident in myself at the time, and I thought I was not going to get picked. But they kept reading them off one by one, and then the presenter says, well, there's one post-it note left that I was saving for last, and I'd like to read that out now. And it was mine. It was this. And for those of you who can't read Korean, I will read it for you and give you a translation. But it says, 행복은 상태가 아니라 행동입니다. Which is, happiness is not a state of being, it is an action. And I didn't really think I was being profound or anything with that, but it seemed to have touched the presenter, and he asked me to come up and talk about it. Of course, I was not the only one who spoke about my post-it note, but he brought me up to the front to speak about what that meant to me. And I told my story of how I was going through a really rough time, which could be its own topic in and of itself, so I won't go into it, but I was going through a very, very difficult time about 3-4 years ago. And during all the struggles that I was going through, I realized that for so much of my life, I had expected happiness to just come to me. I had expected that, oh, if I did this thing, or if I got this thing, or if I met this person, that I would be happy. And that was not the case at all. And I was finding out the very hard way that that was not the case at all. So I had done a lot of self-reflection into happiness and what it meant to me before I went to this event. And going to this event and going up to the front and speaking about this even brought that to the forefront even more for me. And so after I was up at the front of this audience, nervous as all get out, I was just shaking, and I somehow got through it. But after I went back into the audience and sat in my seat, the presenter was like, wow, that was great. And he said, I think today's overall theme is happiness. And I felt kind of proud of myself in that moment. I hadn't really felt very proud of myself or very confident in myself for a very, very long time. So having that it just made me feel really good. And since then, I've been really finding ways to live by that mantra? Would you call it a mantra? That phrase, that happiness is not a state of being, it is an action. So every day I actively try to find ways to make myself happy, because nobody else can do that for me. Anyways, I'm sort of rambling already, but to sort of wrap up what I'm trying to say with this anecdote of mine, it's that I was going through a really hard time in my life. Very life altering events were happening, and that was the catalyst for me to realize that the power to be happy lies within me. I have that power. No one else has the power to make me happy or to make me unhappy for that matter. And if you can take anything away from this video, I hope that that's something that you can take away, is that you hold the power to your own happiness. Don't let anyone take that from you. Because it really should not be necessary to go through a life-shattering, life-altering event like I did just to realize that. And this is not saying that you're going to be happy all the time. There will be times where you will feel bad and you'll be sad, you'll be down, and it's almost impossible to bring yourself back to that mode of happiness again. But understanding that you can always get back there by your own willpower, that's the important part. Anyways, it's been a really long time since I have been in front of a camera and just talking to a lens like this, so I probably rambled a lot and it probably wasn't very coherent, but thank you so much for watching to the end. And, you don't have to, but if you'd like, you could subscribe, and I guess I will see you next time if you're around, and if not, well, thanks for watching this one. See ya.